Well, the origins of our professional development transformation really go back to 2017. And with the new administration that came in 2017, we took a fresh look at how state government was performing. And one of the things we did was a very simple thing. We need to get the facts. And we did a comprehensive statewide survey across all of our 16 cabinet departments, never been done before, that gave us a fact base to understand what's working and what's not in our state government. And what was really important about that, going back to 2017, is that it highlighted, first, although all the departments historically had felt they're all very different. I mean, Department of Conservation and Corrections, I mean, those are pretty different. But what was interesting that came out of the survey was actually they faced similar challenges. And they were more alike than you would ever imagine in terms of how they worked. Not necessarily in their mission, but how they worked. And then the second part that came out loud and clear was acute frustration and challenges tied to professional development. And that there was a huge untapped potential in our state workforce to deliver for our citizens, to be more efficient, more effective, and that, quite frankly, there have been years of systematic neglect. Many departments basically didn't invest at all in training and professional development of their workforce. So those are two themes that came out in 2017 was, number one, we're more alike and we have some common challenges. And then at the top of that list was, we need to really invest in our workforce, get this right, because otherwise we're never going to be efficient, we're never going to be effective, and we're never going to deliver for our citizens the way we need to.
A lack of people being able to manage effectively. And sometimes it was because of skill, and sometimes it was because of will. And I think we recognize that we really, have to, in order to change government, we really need to either give people the skills they need or change the people. And, part of talking about this, when you look at historically at the picture of state government, and I've been around quite a while because I was formerly in the legislature and a statewide office holder. So I've watched government over the years. And you recognize that the state workforce really had been neglected as far as the human resources aspect of providing support to people to understand how to manage people better and how to effectively coach them and how to professionally develop them. That was lacking.
I would say it's a very unique and delicate balance between relentless project management and relationship building and buy-in from the same people that you are asking to keep up with relentless project management. And so the way that we have done that here is at a variety of different levels. We talked earlier about the role of the cabinet and the deputies, and I have a standing agenda. I am a standing agenda item on their monthly agenda. We work with them closely. We provide updates. But for me, I meet and work with our HR directors from across the state every week, constant communication, and we have built a community, I believe, of those HR directors that never existed before we tried to do this transformation. And we work very well together. We ask a lot of each other. We have incredible open dialogue during these meetings. They know that they can ask me any questions if they are confused. They know that I will get back to them as quickly as I can about any of the details. And I recognize that their role is 10 times harder than mine. I get to kind of think of the ideas and lead the conversation and manage the moving pieces. They're actually on the ground implementing. Everything from our largest department that has over 10,000 team members working for them, and how do you have a large-scale transformation of professional development with 10,000 people? One department, we're trying to do it 50,000 people, the entire state. And so the challenges that department is facing and interacting with is very different from our smallest department, which has 300 people. And so trying to create a professional development transformation that is consistent enough that my team can manage and implement so that they can just work on the details of their nuanced departments, but also something that is unique enough or gives them enough flexibility to do what they need to do at their department level.
We went and visited with legislators to explain the situation. One thing that we started from the beginning was recognizing that this was not an adversarial relationship between the bureaucrats and the legislature. And instead saying, hey, we're partners. You know, here's our problems. We need to solve them. We need to have more effective government. But the people are our most precious resource. And so if we don't invest in them, we'll never have the kind of government that you guys talk about, you know, when you're on the campaign trail. Having been there and said the same things that they've said, I understood where that was coming from, but really to have effective government, you have to have effective people.
This goes to the design across 16 departments. When you spread the load of the costs across 16 departments, it's much more efficient, economies of scale. And also, this goes to the point that a lot of what we did was homegrown, home designed, homegrown, and home delivered. So we weren't paying a lot for extra consultants or anything else like that. To implement our programs, we did have help from Deloitte to design Engage 2.0 and work in partnership with us. But our Missouri Leadership Academy, entirely homegrown, designed, delivered. Missouri Way, basically designed here with a little bit of external help, but for the most part, delivered by state staff. So the costs of those programs, I mean, imagine a professional development program for 3 full days, including all course materials, including meals, for $200 per person. That is unbelievably, these are like orders of magnitude less expensive than if you went to the open market to do it. So this is one of the reasons why we had efficient, effective design of our programs that gave us the economies of scale and made them so that you could make the case for them relatively easily that this is worth doing. They weren't high-priced items.
Hopefully, you are hearing a little bit of the why we're asking you to provide feedback, why your supervisor is doing a short evaluation of you on a quarterly basis, why we want you to get better and the big picture. We do a lot of work around communications, cascading the communications that we do with the cabinet, then with the deputies, then with the HR team, and giving them specific types of communication, whether it be visually, pictures, videos, email communications that they can use, filtering it down as close as we can get to the frontline person filling the potholes. But I won't say that we figured it all out. 50,000 people. I know that some departments trickle it down very well. Other departments have to massage the message for their nuance. We have been having feedback sessions, focus groups at all levels to try to see if that message is getting down through the entire organization. I think we definitely have a long way to go there just based on some of the questions that we receive. I will say that when we rolled Engage 2.0 out, we had a cadre of 550 change champions. And the intent of that was that we would have informal influencers at all levels. So not the deputies, not the division directors, real on the ground folks. And we trained them to answer questions, and more importantly, we trained them where to find resources so that if they had a question, somebody came up to their cubicle and asked something that they had never heard of, they would know where to go for the answers. And if they didn't, we at Rollout had every week change champion huddles. It's now every other week, but they would have an opportunity, open phone line to ask us, and they all have our email addresses, our phones, and my team and I answer many of the same questions over and over, but that's okay with this because we want people to know that they can come to us with questions.
Governor Parson has been incredibly supportive of every single aspect of the talent management development, and that has helped tremendously. I mean, he comes over, you know, we did a lot of our own homegrown videos, and he would always participate in those and give a little introduction, and that helps set the stage for people listening. Hey, this is important to the administration. You know, he does really value what we do, and that was one of the important things that we were trying to get across to people is we want to hear from you, we want you to have input, we want to support you, you have something to give the state government to make it work better. And he helped deliver that message.
If you don't have the governor's support for the idea that we are going to be in for the long haul, it's going to take some time, but it pays these big dividends of the ability to change how our government works. If someone's just looking for a press release or a quick win, you're not going to be able to get there. So it's, are you in for the long haul to make real change? That does take time. So that's one. The second is engage the senior leaders from across departments. And for us, the unlock has been to work with the deputies. The deputies tend to be those who are much more into the management. They, quite frankly, also are oftentimes not the more political appointees. They are career, they tend to be. And that's made a significant amount of the difference because by getting them as a community working together, we're in a much better spot, but it's also much more practical because they bring decades of experience and they're then in the positions to go back home and make it happen.
Well, I'm glad that you asked that. For a lot of reasons. And one of the major reasons is that state government is fairly close to the people. And the people of Missouri like to have, you know, they recognize that their government is pretty close to them and they can go to it to get response. And so we need to be more responsive to the citizens. We need to deliver better results. And I think that helps maintain the credibility of the state government as an institution. Because relative to a lot of the other institutions that we watch, people don't have a lot of faith in some of them. I think they do in state government, and that makes it more important for us to really invest in the people who are actually delivering those services, because that's what it boils down to. So for years, people can talk about smaller, better, more efficient government, but it's talk unless we actually take action and help people get better and continuously improve to make government and our systems deliver better results.